Hey guys, welcome back. So today I am here to talk to you about the dreaded reading slump. If you're watching this video, chances are you are a book lover and a bookworm like myself. You probably have one or more books that you're always currently reading, but if you are also like me, there are times where you just find yourself not interested in anything. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a really good book or you just finished up a great read, just something happens to where you just get this block where you just can't read anymore. So I wanted to offer my suggestions and my tips for things that I have done to get out of a reading slump. Hopefully they can help you. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever tackled reading slumps, and if so, how you've done them. I'm always looking for suggestions because I'll be honest, there's nothing that I hate more than wanting to read but just not being able to for one reason or the other. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so here we go. My first tip is going to be to DNF whatever you're reading. If you're currently in the middle of a book, be it an audiobook or physical book, just put it down. Stop trying to work your way through it. It doesn't matter if you're interested in it or not. I have found that I need a clear slate if I have any chance of getting out of this reading slump. And so that means putting down whatever book that I'm currently reading and just setting it aside for the time being. I will say that sometimes it's as easy as putting that away because I just simply never wanted to read the book to begin with. But if you find yourself still wanting to read that book later, it's okay. Just set it aside and let's move on to something else. Now, when it comes to picking up another book, that leads me to my next tip, which is to pick up an easy read. And what I mean by that is picking up books that are going to be easy for you to get into and quick for you to finish. So that can be a short story. Anthologies are great for this because they're usually a compilation of shorter stories. So it's easy for you to pick one or even multiple and breeze through them because you don't have the high page count looming over you. You can choose a manga or comic book because, as you guys know, those are picture-based, so you're not going to have a lot of heavy text and dialogue to trudge through. But anything that you think is short and easy, drop whatever you're reading and try that instead and see if that kind of gets you back into the reading spirit. Now, if that doesn't work, let's go on to the third suggestion, which is to listen to an audiobook. I know that I listen to audiobooks all the time, even when I'm not in a reading slump, because they're so easy to get engaged with when I'm multitasking and when I'm doing something else. I personally find that I don't necessarily need to use as much brain power because I am not physically reading the words. So I would say check out an audiobook. You know, if it's something that you have been interested in reading, be it physically or in audiobook form, give it a shot because you can do it and not necessarily have to use 100% of your brain to get into the story. So you can listen to it when you're doing chores, when you're running errands, anytime that you would be listening to music, you can put it on. And what I have found is that when it comes to audiobooks, as much as I am interested in the story, even if my mind wanders a little bit because I'm distracted or my mind is just wandering, I still come back to the story and understand what's going on. So it's not as much pressure to have to focus and zero in on exactly what is happening page by page. For my next tip, I really want to recommend going back to a tried and true favorite. And what I mean by that is just pick up a favorite book of yours that you've already read. I will say I don't typically reread books, but the ones that I have reread in the past, which I can probably count on only one hand, they have been absolute favorites of mine. So let's see, pick up Harry Potter, pick up, I don't know what your favorite book is. It could be Green Eggs and Ham. Whatever you find that you have already read before that is a comforting read, try giving that a shot. And what's great about that is because you already know the story, you don't have to start from page one. You don't have to read the whole thing through. You can skim through, go to your favorite pages, your favorite chapters, your favorite scenes, and just read those. Allow yourself to get lost in the story again, especially because it's a book that you like. Chances are you're going to get that warm and fuzzy feeling because you're revisiting an old world that you have found yourself becoming accustomed to. All right, so I'm actually going to say the opposite of my previous tip because if that doesn't work, let's try downloading samples of completely new stories or books that you have wanted to read that have been on your TBR, go for a try a chapter. If you're familiar with BookTube, you've probably seen like the try a chapter tag. And essentially what that is you just take a stack of books that you have wanted to read and you literally try a chapter of them. So my suggestion for you is to get a couple of books, more than one I would say, just because you have options to choose from. So get a couple of books and read the first few pages. It can be a full chapter or not. It can be 2 pages. It could be 5 pages. It doesn't matter. Now, here's the key to beating your reading slump. After you have tried whatever amount of pages that you have decided on, stop. So if you decided to read 5 pages, read 5 pages from each book and then stop. And if you find yourself compelled to keep going or still thinking about one of the books that you chose, then boom, there you have it. I would say your reading slump is conquered. Dive back into that book and keep reading, because chances are if you're still compelled or if you're already drawn in such a short amount of time, you're going to want to keep reading, and it's just, you've made it easier on yourself to keep going with that story that you've started. All right, so for my last tip, I'm saving this one for last because I think of it as a last resort. It's not better, it's not worse than any of the tips that I've given you. But if you find yourself in a reading slump and you've tried all of the tips and you've tried everything that I've suggested and nothing has helped, then just relax. Don't read anything. It's as simple as that. Do something else that doesn't require reading just to put the pressure off. You know, I feel like sometimes, especially if you are constantly trying to maybe hit a book related goal, or you are a book lover who has like a book blog or a bookstagram and you're constantly having to put out content, a lot of that can kind of make us tense and make us feel forced, and reading doesn't become as much fun. So sometimes you just need to take a step back and just not read. So, you know, listen to podcasts, listen to music, find or listen to new playlists, browse Netflix, browse Hulu, binge a new show, anything other than reading. And chances are you're gonna get that urge to start reading again because of something that you've seen, and your reading slump will just naturally solve itself. Now, that might not be the most ideal answer, but you gotta remember, at the end of the day, reading is supposed to be fun. Obviously, reading for school and your job are completely separate things, but you wanna make sure that your hobby for reading is something that is still loved and you don't start resenting it, because the last thing you wanna do is resent something that is supposed to be fun and something that you love. So I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. I hope you guys got something from them. Reading slumps just suck. I'll just put it out there. So hopefully these tips help. And like I said, if you guys have your own suggestions, I would love to hear them. So let me know in the comments so that I can have some extra ideas for when I find myself in that position. But hopefully, fingers crossed, none of us get any kind of reading slump anytime soon, and we're all enjoying what we're currently reading. And hey, side note and a little PSA, if you're currently reading something right now and you're not loving it, put that shit down. I am a big believer in DNFing books, and if you are not loving a book, chances are that's gonna lead to a reading slump because you're not going to want to pick it up. So put it down now, back away, and find something you want to read. All right, guys, I will talk to you next time, and happy reading. Bye.